Hello fellow woodworkers and welcome to this week's edition of the Garage Workshop, and in this week's video we're going to be taking this blank space and turning it into
a fantastic tool storage wall.
Roll the intro.
So, over the last couple of weeks since Christmas, I've had a little bit of a shift around in the Garage Workshop. I've removed the doors from these cupboards, as you can probably see. I will get round to tidy them up, I promise. And I've moved a couple of other things. I put another light in the Garage Workshop because right over in the corner by my mitre station, it's really quite dark. I've taken my mitre station hood off because it was annoying me, and I just thought actually it looks better without it. I'll just get used to the dust, or I'll put in a better dust collection system. That's going to be coming up. And I've got tools on metal racks all over the Garage Workshop. I have to reach up and grab them here and grab them there. Things are just not very well organised. So the first thing I did was remove my writing whiteboard, which was on here, which I never used, and I've put up this. It's just a really thick 12mm piece of MDF, and I've just screwed it into the plywood. Now I've got that insulated plywood that I did in the garage before I started my YouTube channel, so I have had to brace this up quite a bit. So there's 6 screws in it, but this board I'm going to use for storing some of my sort of semi-occasional tools. Now I'm going to do that with a combination of different techniques. Some are going to involve my 3D printer, and we'll get onto that in a minute, and others are just going to be things that I either use a French cleat or I attach directly to them. The first thing I needed to sort out is my box of screwdrivers. Now, I don't know if you're like me, fellow woodworkers, but I have lots and lots of different screwdrivers, all different shapes and sizes that I've accumulated over many years. So I thought the best way to store these in the workshop would be on one of those magnetic metal strips, which they've been on for ages, but they have been underneath this shelf where my cupboards are. And of course, they're impossible to get to. You have to reach over everything. You go to pull one off, it catches another one, and they fall down. So I wanted to do something slightly different. So what I did was I jumped onto MakerLab, I fired up the 3D printer, and I found a template for a screwdriver holder. And this is it. I printed out 3 or 4 of these. Now, there are loads and loads of designs on the internet for these, loads on MakerLab, but what I liked about this one is it has different sized holes at the front and the back, and the way it's spaced out, it doesn't take up a lot of room, but you can get a lot of screwdrivers in it. So each one, this one, let me see if I can get it all filled up. See, that is a thicker screwdriver. That needs to go at the back where the holes are thicker, straight in. So there, straight off, just on that one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Each one of these takes 9. I'll put a link to this in the description for the video. So I've got those that can go up, and I've also printed out a similar one for spanners, but we'll get onto that. But this isn't all going to just be 3D printed. I want to put up a couple of things where I can interchange them. So I'm going to use some little French cleats for that. Let's get onto that now.
So the first thing I did was just make the French cleat rail, which was just an old piece of scrap wood. I just ran it through the table saw with a little bit of issue, as you can see, but I got there in the end. I'm super careful working on my table saw, especially after I just saw the video for Modern Builds. If any of you follow the channel, where he cut the top of his finger off on his table saw. So I'm just super careful here. It hadn't quite caught. I've sort of blocked the camera, but I just ran the last bit through because there was quite a big sort of knuckle of wood hanging off the end. And when that was done, it was just a case of drilling holes into the wood, and this was to attach it to the wall. I had to be careful how I did this because I was very close to the edge of the wood, and the last thing I wanted to do was split the wood, especially after I'd gone through the hassle on the table sort of getting it there. So that I put to the side, ready for when I actually install it on the wall, which you see later in the video. Oh, the other thing I did was I just hollowed out just the ends, just sort of countersunk them really, so the head of the screw went.
Okay, now the French cleats are made. Before we do anything else, I want to address the problem that I've got with this, my ring spanners. I don't know what the proper name is for these. I just call them ring spanners. So I've got a set of these Parkside ones, which I've had for a long time. And to be honest, I don't really use these type of spanners very often, but I find that when I do go to use them, I can never find where they are, and they're always hidden and buried under a ton of stuff. So I want to do something about that. So I popped back onto Maker Lab and I downloaded a template for this. This is a ring spanner holder, but it works exactly as it looks. It's got some sort of different leveled grooves cut in. All of these are the same size. You can get them with different sizes, but I wanted to make sure I got them all the same size. And literally, you just put your spanners in like so. They're angled back, slightly pivoted back, and then you load it all up and it keeps them nice and hung. Now, I do already have one of these. I've got a Parkside one. This Parkside one I bought years ago, and it's got a magnetic pad on the back. The difference with the Parkside one, hopefully you can see that, is as it cycles through, it's much thicker at the back than it is at the front. And my spanners don't fit in it. If I get them to where they sort of should be, I can get some of them in, but as they get thicker, there's not enough space for all of them to sit in. They don't fit all in it. Now, the disadvantage of having a system like this is, and I'll show you with the one I've 3D printed, because these ring spanners lean back on an angle, hopefully you can see they are not flush with the back. So if you attach this to the wall, what it ends up doing is pushing the spanners forward. Well, obviously they can't go forward because they're on an angled slant. So what I'm going to do is think about a way of configuring it and putting it up. I was going to put a sort of French cleat on it and hang it on the French cleat rail, but the problem with doing that is A, it will stand off proud. I don't know if it's deep enough, and B, it might sort of rest on an angle because it'll have to be fixed at the top and it'll move a little bit. So what my thinking is now, I'm just going to put like a wooden triangle behind this and lift it away from the wall, because with the spanners on there, let me see if it's not very easy for you to see, but with the spanners on there, what I'm looking at is this little bit of clearance here, and I've measured that clearance and it comes to 4 centimeters. So if I can pop this off the wall by about 4 centimeters and obviously sort of hide it behind, I don't want the big piece of wood sticking out, then I will be able to use that. And what I can use this one for is my spanners. Now, this one is designed to work the opposite way to this one. This one is sort of pyramid up and this is pyramid down. And because my spanners are a lot smaller, if I can get them in, there's no standout. That's the biggest spanner I've got, and there's no standout. So I can literally just put this on there. So the plan of action is to put these two in a sort of complementary style, something like that. But as I said, what I've got to do is lift this off. Now, 4 centimeters is actually quite a lot. It's quite a big standoff. So I've got 2 choices. I can either put 2 sort of bars across it, or something that goes around the edge. I'm going to have a look at my scrap wood pile and see what I've got. So I've just had a look through my wood pile, and I've got some of these offcuts. This is the wood that I made the fence panel out of earlier in the year. I'll put a link to that video in the description. It's the sort of basic wood. It's very lightweight. I don't actually know what this wood is. At the time, I think I did ask. So if you do know, it's that sort of slatted wood that you put on the outside of, you know, if you're building garages and cabins and stuff. Now, let's see. I think it will fit. Yeah, it's just big enough that it fits sort of either side, and you can't really see it. Now let's try it with the actual spanner in it and see if it lifts it off. Now, if anything, it's a little bit too big. I think that is perfect. I'm not sure if you can see from the angle, but from what I can see, I've got about 1 millimeter. Let's just offer it up. Yep, so there's about 1 millimeter's worth of clearance. So what I'm going to do is attach this to that. I'll drill a couple of holes in this and put it on, and then I'll attach it onto the wall. But yeah, I'm pleased with that. I think especially up in the top hand corner, you're not going to see the fact it's lifted off a bit. And to be honest with you, the most important thing is it doesn't bang on the wall. So let's attach it here. I need to find another piece for the top, but I've got loads of these bits lying around. So let's attach it on here and then we'll take it from there.
So I just drilled through the spanner holder. This PLA drills really, really well. It's just the basic PLA, but it is made by Bamboo Labs. I haven't ever used anything else in it. So I just drilled the holes top and bottom to make sure it was in the right place. And then I drilled the pieces of wood which were going to sit behind the sort of spanner holder. I was really careful how I did this because, as you'll see, they're right next to the edge of the piece of wood, because what I wanted to do was not conflict with the holes that I just drilled on the spanner holder. So I got it. I'd already put a little mark on the wall which you can't really see, just so I knew sort of roughly where I wanted it to be, and then I just hand screwed it through the MDF at the back, which actually was quite hard work. You forget, don't you, use in this day and age, you use so many electric power tools, you forget how hard it is to actually screw something. But I picked up the power tool for the second one. I just wanted to make sure it was absolutely straight. So fixing one end did give me this sort of opportunity to move it up and down if I wanted to do that. And obviously I had my level in my hand the whole time. Probably can't see it there, but it is absolutely spot on, top and bottom. Really good little level, that Parkside one. It was in this week's middle of Lidl sale. Anyway, I did exactly the same thing for the top. What I'd done, which you probably can't see, is I just put a mark in the wall exactly in the middle. And when I watched this footage back, it was really weird looking at it because it doesn't actually look like it's in the middle. But it is. It's exactly in the middle. I think it's just the angle that the camera set at, but it was exactly in the middle. And again, I just fixed it in using a combination of my hand turning strength and the electric screwdriver. When I got it exactly right, I just finished the screwing in both screws. So now I had the sort of outside bit. Now for an extreme close-up, I moved the camera very close. It's a little bit blurry there, but I got it, and you can see there's two marks underneath the piece of wood, and you can just about see on the left there, pencil mark sort of in the middle on the actual spanner holder. So what I did was lined them up and then just screwed through it and screwed down into it. And then I had the lovely job of putting them all on to make sure. Now, I know they're very much over by the cabinet, but to be honest with me, that doesn't worry me. And what you can't see from this angle is that cabinet is actually set off the wall quite a long way. So that first sort of spanner head is actually behind the edge of the cabinet, as it were. But like I said, that far up and that far out of the way, it's not going to interfere with the cabinet at all. It's just going to sit there, and as and when I need them, I can just pull them straight off. So it's exactly what I wanted it to be. I was very pleased. Next thing to do was to put on the magnetic spanner holder, the Parkside one, and actually this proved to be a lot more difficult than I anticipated it being in the very beginning, mainly because when I drilled and put in the screws, and you'll see in a minute, when I went to tighten the screws up, it lifted the whole of the plastic thing off, and as you tightened them in, the screw heads, it sort of lifted it up. You'll see in a minute, it took quite a lot of goes to get it exactly level. And actually what I did in the end, which I'm not sure I caught it on film or not, I can't remember to be honest with you, is I actually drilled a hole through the sort of bottom of the pyramid, and I just put an extra screw through. There obviously wasn't one there on the template. There should have been. So if anyone from Parkside's watching this, you need a different screw. You need a screw hole at the bottom there. So as you can see, as I'm sort of doing it up, it's moving quite a lot, and it took a while to get it exactly right, because as I sort of tightened it up, it slightly knocked it out one way or the other. It was actually quite frustrating, but I eventually got to a good position. But it did need that final drill hole in the bottom. Like I said, I don't think I did that. I think I did it off camera, and when I put that in the bottom, it kept it all completely straight. There you can see the screw in the bottom there. I haven't got a full set of spanners. Anyone watching this video who's a spanner manufacturer, please send me a whole set. And I've got really random numbers as well. I've got quite a few that are missing the sort of popular ones, which you're going to use all the time, obviously aren't there, but they all fit in. That was the most important thing.
So they're up there now, the ring spanners and the normal spanners, nice and tight, as you can see, and this one slightly raised off the wall. To be honest, when you're sort of looking at it, hopefully you can see this from where you are, you can't really see the fact that it's rested off of the wall, but there is a nice gap. What I could have done, where I've actually put it, I could have used the edge of the board rather than standing it out, but to be honest with you, I'm just happier with it being the way it is. So I've got those two things up there. The next thing that I'm planning on putting up is one of these magnetic even Parkside rails. Now these are always coming up in the middle of Lidl, and I've got about 5 or 6 of these, and these are super useful, but I want somewhere on here to hang things like my set of pliers. Also I've got a 3 ratchet set, which was another Parkside one. So the plan is to put this sort of somewhere around there. I've got enough space, it does fit, but obviously I want to leave a little bit of clearance from the spanners in case I get a bigger spanner, but I'm happy to have it sort of quite high up. So I'm going to mark that and put that up next. Then we're going to put the French cleat system in, and then after that we'll have a little bit of look of the space we've got left, because I've got lots of little bits and bobs that I would like to sort of try and fit in here if I can do that. So let's put this on the wall now.
The important thing to note about this is those black screws that you can actually see on the rail are specially designed. They are specially designed to fit in, because the sort of screw head hole on the sort of joiner there is actually really tight. You can't fit a normal size screw in there. Well, you probably could, but they're not sort of traditional screws you have lying around. These are sort of specialist ones that come with it, and they've got an extremely small sort of head on it. I know this looks like everything's touching that wood. Just ignore what I'm saying to you there. I know it seems like everything is touching on that wood, but like I said, that wood's going to be gone soon, so that won't be an issue at all.
Okay, I'm gonna go for about here for the French cleat. I've done it this way round. This might turn out to not be right, because obviously there's not a lot of space in that French cleat, and I'm trying to have the sort of thicker bit, the thinner bit, sorry, this side, so I can have the thicker bit on the other edge. We'll see how it goes, to be honest. So I'm going to line it up now. The first thing I'm going to do is literally just put a screw in and attach it one end, and then I'll level it off and do the same here.
So what I did with the French cleat here is what I did with everything else pretty much. Put the 2 screws in. I actually had a line drawn, you can't really see it that clearly. Put 1 screw in and sort of fix it 3/4 of the way, then get it level, get the other screw in, and then I just came by and sort of filled all the other holes in.
Okay, so I've got this screwdriver holder and the longest screwdriver, so I'm just going to position it sort of by eye as close as I can, and then as low down as I can. So it's going to give me a rough sort of starting point, and then I'm just going to draw a line with the spirit level exactly so I now know that line is straight. So in theory, all I need to do now is just drill and screw those in from that side. Move it across a little bit. I'm going to go for 2 to start with, but I've got quite a few screwdrivers. So let's put a couple on now and see what they look like.
These screwdriver holders were absolutely brilliant. Again, I put a little mark on the wall, which you probably can't see, just to sort of keep it level. Attach one, and then from there it's just a really simple, easy process of holding the level there, putting the screw in, getting it fixed in, and then attaching it. And I just did the same for all 3. I went for 3. I have actually got a spare, and I could potentially come to the left of that if I wanted to, or go above it, but I started off with just the 3 to get everything in.
Okay, so it's on the wall now, and I actually decided to put an extra one in because I've got a set of these little like micro files. They're actually made by Jorgensen. I think I got them in B&Q, and I thought it'd be quite good to put them on the opposite side. So I'm going to load this up now and just make sure that all the screwdrivers fit.
It was actually ridiculously satisfying putting all these screwdrivers in and getting them all organised. I was pleased to say that they all fitted. The only one that didn't was a bit of a knackered old one where the sort of head had gone anyway, so I just recycled that. But nice that they all fitted and everything was in a line.
Okay, screwdrivers and files are all in. The next thing I'm going to put up is a bracket I've got for a fire extinguisher, which I'm going to put right on the end. Now, the reason I'm going to put this on the end is there is a bit of wood behind the board, like a little bordering piece of wood. So I'm going to put that on there so it's got a bit more to sort of sink into. So I'll put it about there, and then it's just a case of working on the things that are going to go on the French cleats. I'm still undecided about that. And then loading up the tool at the top. I haven't left myself a huge amount of room at the top, and some of you watching might be thinking, oh, that's not a lot of room. But I'm not too worried about that because a lot of the things I'm going to put on there are going to sort of hang from the head, as it were. You'll see in a minute. But let's get that on the wall first of all, and then we can move on to the French cleat.
Putting this fire extinguisher on was super important. I've had a fire extinguisher in the workshop the entire time I've had the workshop, just on the off chance. I always go back to Jason's video on bourbon moth when those rags, that test he did, when those rags soaked in linseed oil, I think they were, just spontaneously combusted in his garage. So I always have a fire extinguisher there or thereabouts. I need to change it soon actually because it's out of date in a few months.
Okay, so fellow woodworkers, I've got the screwdrivers, I've got my fire extinguisher, I've just literally put in a couple of screws here to hang my adjustable spanners on, my larger one here and my smaller one here. I've got my spanners, I've just put my files on. I've got a little bit of space here, but obviously I'm a bit worried about clearance with the wood, but all this bit up here with the wood is going to be moving. That'll be a different video, but I'm rearranging all of that as well. So I've got most of that done. The last thing that I want to do to finish this is to literally just make a little box that I can put all of my sort of caliper and boxes in, as I explained earlier. So I'm literally going to make something that goes on there. Probably going to be that side more than that side. These are the biggest boxes that I've got, so I've just got to make sure that the box hangs within that. I'm just going to use a piece of 9mm MDF for this, which is the same as the board that's on here. It's actually going to come from the same sheet, and it's just going to be a really simple design. The mistake I'm not going to make... Okay, so the box is made. I'm not going to lie, there's a lot more wood glue than I thought there was going to be and there was needed. But to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter. It's just a really basic box with the cleat on. So fingers crossed it fits, which it does perfectly. That's the other bit for anything else I want to make. Now, if I'm a bit concerned about this, I can always take it off and move it along and put it this side and butt it up against there. I've got lots of options, and to be honest, it's more the fact that it's going to hold something. Now, with this obviously hanging like this, it does give me a little bit of a dangle sort of forward, which obviously it will do because of the weight. So there is a gap at the back. At the moment, I'm not going to put anything on the back to sort of support it, because I think with a bit of weight in it, it won't lean forward like that. So with a bit of weight in it, let's load it up. So that's my digital sort of measurer, and that's my calipers, a torch, my digital, that's my moisture meter, and my digital like tape measure, and my angle for my table saw. So it all fits in, and I've got quite a bit of room. So everything there is I want it to be. I am actually going to move it to the back. Let's just put it over there. So it doesn't have to be the prettiest thing. Oh, let me just move it all the way along to the end. So it doesn't have to be the sort of most attractive thing. It's functionality over everything else. Now I've got a little bit of a gap here, which I can come back to. At the moment, I'm not going to put anything in it. The one thing I might possibly add is I've seen a little sort of tape holder that sticks off the wall, a 3D one. So I'm going to have a look at that, because I might well print that out just for the masking tapes and the things that I use really, really regularly. But at the moment, I'm going to leave that gap spare in case I decide to make another box to hang on there. So it's exactly how I want it to be. Again, space here for if I want to add anything longer, but I'm so pleased with my finished tool storage. So fellow woodworkers, we have come to the end of this week's video. I have to say I'm super pleased with how my tool wall finished up. As I said earlier in the video, this is one of a series of different things I'm going to do to rearrange the garage workshop, because I've got bits and bobs everywhere. But it's super neat, super tidy, and the most important thing is I know where everything is and it's easily reachable, which obviously it wasn't before. I had all these bits everywhere, and now they're all there for when I need them. I hope you enjoyed this week's video. A bit of a different video this week, I appreciate, but something that I really wanted to do, and some ideas here that you can take into your shed or your workshop. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. If you are new to the channel, please can I ask you to subscribe, like and comment, all that good stuff, which helps the algorithm and helps the channel grow. If you are a regular subscriber, again, thank you so much. Also, please like and comment. Let me know what you think of the storage. Let me know if you've got any ideas where I can put anything else on it. Just give me your general feedback, and I'll catch you on next week's edition of the Garage Workshop. Take care, fellow woodworkers.